Hollywood is fake. 200 self described bird truthers, all in on the act, playfully protested the very serious sounding bird drone surveillance crisis.
What do you think? All right, let's dig into it. So here's the wedge, okay, that I drew out for you, and I still have those giant arrows there. All right. So why did I pick this spot here? Well, I picked this spot here because that's where the 9 and the 21 across the 89, right? And then that's the rejection coming down. Now I drew it with that because that is, as of right now, the September low. Now I want to show you something. Please pay attention. Okay, so we got that Friday top. It goes back to around that cross. So let's count that, since that's September 1st, as September. Okay? If you see, and that's the September low, all of September we've been in this range that they said from Friday the 1st to Thursday the 7th. So they made the whole range the first week, and we have yet to leave it. Okay? So, if you're wondering why any move does not have more longevity than a one night stand, well, eventually it will. However, it's September, and I told you that it was gonna be choppy, and choppy it has been, and we're range bound. We got a bunch of shit coming up, okay? Uh, Not only the equinox, we got Yom Kippur, we got FOMC, the list goes on and on and on. Now, I'm not saying this is gonna be a W, but there's big chance. We'll see what Europe and China do, but it's very positive in my opinion that we didn't lose this demand area. That early low, I have early low. I think I gave you early low. That held. Sure, we didn't hold the intraday highs. That's when I was in the chat and I was saying that this looks like a head and shoulder. A head and shoulders, which it did. It was, if you look here on, let's say, SPY 5 minute. Hold on. I posted the picture with the arrows nicely and neatly, and for all you new guys, that is a head and shoulders where it makes a high, a higher high, and then a lower high. That's your chance to short or get out. And I said if it loses this area, it goes down, and that was that 4-4-3 possible play. And then I played the rebound for 50%. I love catching knives and playing rebounds, especially if a level holds, and it held that level it broke up from. And then obviously I was playing NQ and ES when that level held again. I caught this whole move. Now, the SPY 5 minute chart is set up to perfection for the 5% challenge. Almost too good. We got the Stowe running, we have the MACD cross, and now we're waiting. So what likely will happen is this will cross, it'll run a little, maybe up to pre-market high, this level again, and then it's gonna reject. So tomorrow your job is to see if it rejects, wait for it to hold this breakout area and grab calls for the run-ups. We've seen a lot of initial balance, and the IB session, the initial balance is the first hour, which is this, okay? And if you want guidance with a box, the freaking indicator is called literally initial balance, like that, okay? So the fact that we closed above it is very bullish. Okay, I know all of Twitter, and I know Janet Yellen looks like a freak show and is not as pretty as her sister from the 80s. Uh, but this is a bullish setup. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, this sky's gonna fall." Again, I get the bear narrative. Look, SPY should be at like 182, but I mentioned in the chat, and you know, the chat is very informative for all kinds of traders. If you read it, all right, there's always nuggets. Okay, not only patties but nuggets. And I said, anytime the 10-year yield goes under the 50 1 hour, we've had a little run up, and I'm gonna demonstrate to you right there, right there, right there. Okay, right there. So there's a good chance with the 10-year yield being so freaking nuclear hot here that they have to slap it down. Still above the 9, which is good. That means it could get down to the 21. Okay? It doesn't lose the 21 very easily, but if it does, it'll go to the 50, and it's not gonna lose the 50 unless Jerome Powell pulls out the freaking bow tie. Okay? Got it? Now, the VIX feel that... Or did I... Hold on. Because I was looking at the 5 minute. Let's investigate. Yeah, I mean, that's a gap close. But nevertheless, that is falling down. Looks to be like we could have a double top here. That'd be nice. I wouldn't what is that sauce on my screen? Freaking kids, man. I would love for this to do a W, honestly. Okay, and then we catch that short later on, maybe after FOMC. Okay, what would be best case scenario for FOMC? It would be a huge spike up to here. We could cash our YOLO IV play calls and then short the shit out of this because it will be a double top with a lower high. Okay, so yes, this is looking like it's gonna go higher. That is obviously possible, but I would be more inclined for this to make a W, fill that gap, not reach that high, so you would have like 3 tops that are all lower, and then short that for a little bit, and then I'm sure it'll bounce at some point. But again, we haven't reached my low or high of the month. We have kind of come close, so it counts, but this whole area, I would like, with all these boxes on the 1 hour, I always like 2 taps at the low and 2 taps at the high, and then it'll kind of tell us where we go for the next range, if that makes sense. Hope it does. Bitcoin, whatever, sold off today. Let's see if this is updated. Come on, man. No, it hasn't updated. KRE looked like absolute dog shit. However, do note that it held that low. So if we're going to be in a rip mode, KRE is a great candidate for calls since it's got a gap here. Okay, and it's at the low of its supply and demand box. So keep that in mind. I know WWJ, WJW, he plays KRE from time to time, so he's probably dialed in on that. Oil is looking like it just wants you to look at expensive electric vehicles right past you, okay, while you wait for the bus. Not a high level. I mean, we've seen these flow levels be in the 60s and 70s, so like that's mosquito sized, okay, meaning small, can have big impact. All right, Dixie. 1 hour looks like, once it loses this 89. Who is calling me? I don't know, but I'm not gonna be answering you. Once it loses the 89, if it does, it will come down to here. Okay? So 89, let's put in a little bit of an alert there. 89 is either gonna bounce this hard or it's gonna come down to this cross level here. Okay? Wonderful. Now let's look at some individuals here. What do we got going on? Well, we had that huge QQQ push back there. Isn't that funny? I posted that arrow and that level. If it loses that, it's lights out, which it was. And then, whoa, an hour later, we're back there. So you could have sat through all this shit, which I didn't, obviously, because I dipped out. Because in September, literally every freaking day has been this shit. So unless you come up with a good explanation why I should sit through that, I'm all ears. But that's what I'm saying. The beginning has action here, you see. Midday is just dead, and then you get action the last 2 hours. So that's worked for me. Should work for you. Now Google obviously caught that play for 75%, and I was not in. I mean, I missed the beginning of it, but it hit its 52-week high, and that was 75% right there. And then I sold runners that I had a few left at 32%, so that never went negative. The reason I sold is obviously it hit its 52-week high. Now I don't know if they might be coming out with some, AI that you need. But other than that, it's probably going to retrace and there's better plays. Those Apple calls that I had a starter on Friday afternoon at 34 cents hit 130 something. So that was kind of a bummer. But again, you see this huge spike early on. Marked it, came down and chugged up. So, whatever. Delete. Definitely keep your eye on Baba. I mean, this 87 level has worked for a long while. As you can see, there's a huge cluster here after that inverted head and shoulder that kind of fizzled out. So there is plenty of move to the upside. It's all about the uncertainty of China and them flexing tanks. Obviously, LMT didn't show up to 404. That would have been an epic long last week. Didn't though. We'll watch for the retrace and ride that. Unity, I had mentioned that the Unity CEO dumped, and as did the stock, so not gonna be touching that. Not playing Hood either. I'll keep an eye on UPST because it's under 30 and it will have its day very soon. I'm just wondering if where it's actually going, because it's not, unless he wants 24 again, which I mean, if we can get 24 again on this in the Christmas, that's your play right there. So let it fizzle, sizzle, whatnot. I'm still in my coin starters, but it didn't take off obviously because Bitcoin dumped. But if the Fed pauses, Bitcoin's going to go to 31k really freaking fast. So worth having some cheap please on that. Netflix is still dead. I mean, this was quite the move out of left field. I love trading Nvidia. I don't really know why I didn't take this trade today. Because I was in Google. That's pretty much the only excuse I have. I know Doug was writing it because we've been playing this a lot. And I mean, what a freaking move. But look at that. So this, has the characteristics of the PPT, who then also were riding Apple, but then they stuck their Apple money somewhere else. And I think it's in the QQQ indices, because QQQ jumping like that, and SPY jumping like that and Apple selling is very odd when you're like, okay, but what did they use? Because they didn't use Tesla. They were obviously Nvidia, but not that much. So they might have just pumped these indices, honestly, because unless Google didn't freaking do it. Sorry, Unity, you're gonna get retired for a while now because ain't nobody touching you. It wasn't Amazon either, so they must have just pumped the indices, unless I'm missing something. Carvana is not finished, or it would have sold off. So look here at the volume, pretty low, pretty low. If we see high volume spikes tomorrow morning, that's gonna be a good play for you. All right, and then I just wanted to show you. Let's update this. So you can see I mentioned some dark pool buys. You can clearly see them here. Holding up tick, so maybe it's a SPY day tomorrow. Today was very, very heavy QQQ flow. That's how they kept it up. So if you know KRE is so low that it needs a bounce, so that will put SPY in play rather than QQQ. All right, guys. Love yourself, love your family, and God bless. And may you have a awesome week.